You're live. We're live. Oh gosh, it's time to go live. Hold on, I gotta start over. Maybe I edit that out. I'll edit it out later. I'll fix it in post. How is everybody doing? We're back. We're here. We're just cooking. It's Poetry Week. Welcome to New York Poetry Week. We're at New York City Poetry Festival Saturday. I'm all day hosting the White Horse Stage. And 5 p.m. Easy Paradise lineup. We've got a great lineup. Billy Lamont, Jeff Conjay, and more. Great writers. Hannah, my friend Hannah, is in from California. Shout out to Hannah Pachman. She's in town for the week, so she's going to be joining us. And more. Franz, I think. I forgot who I asked, to be honest, because I'm horrible at booking things, any kind of communication, texting, calls, emails. Other than this is the best way to really communicate with me, but the chat is turned off, so just in the comments, leave a comment. I'll get back to you. Maybe. So on Monday, I kind of did a contest at the open mic. Whoever was there, and there's a lot of great poets that came out. This week we had I don't know if it's because of the festival. The festival has gotten more kind of like known in the circles, the open mic circles that I'm in. I've been doing that festival. I was thinking about it today. I think 11 years. I think the first year I did it was 2014. Maybe the first year was 2015, but I'm pretty sure it was 2014. And I had been to it before that. I saw Mark Strand at New York City Poetry Festival, but Poetry Project used to have a reading slot there. I saw their reading. So I've been going to it for like a long time, over 10 years, almost 15 years. But I've been hosting readings since 2018. I think 2018 was maybe the first year I hosted a reading. But I've been reading at it. Maybe it was 2017. I've been reading at it since 2014 or something. And I mean, it's just the ultimate kind of summit gathering of it's just like all the open mics got together and throw one big open mic festival. And so for like sort of an open source, I've been going to stuff like this my whole life, like ComFest, right? Or Columbus Arts Festival. These like kind of community festivals where they have vendors, people sell their paintings, their photographs, their clothes, their pipes, their glass. That's a bazaar, and it's a natural. I mean, I would love it if I could make a living just selling my poetry. That would be my goal, really, is to just like go to these. If they had more of these type of things, I'm not really sure how many events there are like the New York Poetry Festival, to be honest, where it's just like you can sign up and you go and do it. There's an open mic. You can get a table, sell your zines, your chapbooks, whatever. And they're very cool about letting people get involved. I mean, the last few years, it's been you apply, they open up submissions, and you send them a description and your readers and blah, blah, blah. And then they would assign you a time and a stage. Now it's like this year, I think you just signed up yourself. And so we usually go early. They usually give us like 11:30, or a couple years we had 12:30, which was nice. But I kind of like going later in the day. It's because it's like you got to get to Governor's Island. You got to get on a ferry. There's only a ferry every half an hour. So if you miss your ferry, then it's like, oh my God, I'm going to miss my whole fucking reading. There's nothing that would suck worse than missing your New York City Poetry Festival reading. It's for the people. That's one thing that's nice about it. It's not like the Brooklyn Art Book Fair or some of these other festivals, Brooklyn Book Festival, where it's like it's kind of exclusive. It's for kind of the in crowd of people who are academics or the so-called avant-garde, the real professional, slick kind of alternative poets. I guess AWP might be like a similar thing for pros, for people in po biz. But for the DIY kind of open mic culture of New York, which I think is very strong. Man, I was reading this article the other day in Rolling Stone. This fucking article was in Rolling Stone, which I'm not sure if that's really relevant anymore. I suppose it's not, but like I'm sure they have a readership. It was online. I don't think it was in the magazine. If anybody even gets the magazine, in my household growing up, Rolling Stone was like very important. It was just like we lived and died by whatever the fuck. I mean, I never liked Peter Travers or Rob Sheffield or any of their fucking writers, but like we got it every fucking week. Any kind of interview, Dylan interview, his first interview in 10 years, or the McCartney covers, whatever the fuck it was. That and Vanity Fair were like the two culture Bible periodicals, whatever. And so Rolling Stone had this whole fucking interview or this whole article about, and it was a long article. It was like you could tell they sent somebody to like do this and research this. And it was all about this conservative alt lit reading in LA. And it was all about how literature now is like conservative. It's cool to be conservative. And these writers are, the only guy I remember them mentioning is Delicious Tacos, who I had heard of. I've heard of Delicious Tacos, probably through Twitter or something. I've heard of Delicious Tacos. I mean, he's not like a household name, but it's like your name is fucking Delicious Tacos. Like people, they estimate the power of the stage name. A stage name can make your career. I saw a poster. It was all these actors, and one guy's name was Earl Grey. I'm like, that can make your fucking career. You need something like that. You need a name that's gonna like sell you Delicious Tacos. It's like no wonder people follow this guy on fucking Twitter or whatever. So I mean, it's like there's a lot of articles that have been written recently about where are all the male writers, where's the great white male novelist, whatever. What happened to literary men, blah, blah, blah. It's like, we're out here. I mean, I guess they're looking for some kind of like big popular, like cultural, like, thing that just like sweeps through the culture and becomes like famous or something. Like some guy writes a book and it becomes like on the road or something. They're like, where is that in a way? Where is the modern, like that's something my friend was saying the other day about these readings in New York, the downtown kind of old scene, whatever, Forever Mag or whatever the hell it is, the Drift, or, there's a million of them now. And, it's like, why are we not getting the coverage, or why are people in New York not as famous as they fucking were in the 70s or the 60s? Why are we not? And it's when he's like, well, because it's just not that good. I mean, I guess when it comes to art or entertainment or whatever the hell you want to call it, culture, it's like you either move people or you don't move people. It's like your work either it actually has an effect on somebody. And that's generally, I feel like, what makes somebody a popular artist, this music of the 60s or whatever, something like On the Road. There's certain parts of On the Road that like are moving. That fucking quote that everybody quotes about the only people for me are the wild, whatever the hell it is, who pop like Roman candles or spiders or whatever the fuck it is. It's like a refrigerator magnet thing, Or if you hear Kerouac read on Steve Allen or something, you're like, that sounds amazing. It's like it really is. It's a whole romantic vision. I'm using this as an example because it was sort of like a recent example of a male writer who, maybe who's a writer that has had that kind of effect in the popular culture. I mean, one of the aspects of this, right, is we don't live in a monoculture anymore, right? There's more self-publishing now, right, than ever. There's more books being published right now, which I think is very exciting. It's like, is there one, movie star celebrity writer that like wrote some kind of like handbook for a generation? Is it Tao Lin? Is it, I don't know, is it Ben Lerner? Is it Sally Rooney? Is it, I mean, the female they have there probably that you would point to, Elif Bautuman or Sally Rooney or Normal People or whatever the fuck that book is. What's the male equivalent? And, on the road, it was like this whole lifestyle. Like, even if you didn't really get the book, you got hitchhiking and you got like, hey, I'm going to hit the road. I'm going to go out. I'm going to have kicks. I'm going to drink. I'm going to listen to music. I'm going to escape right from it. That's what it was, I guess, right? Like, it sold this escape from conformist post-war. It was, I guess, sort of an accident, but so it has this kind of, I don't know, like hook or something. Does Tao Lin have a book like that? Is Taipei like that? I mean, all this stuff is sort of more niche now. Everybody's kind of like more twee about it and more, it's all about micro, it's things like New York City Poetry Festival, or all these micro scenes. There was a festival in Columbus, Flyover Fest, and it had like a literary component. I think it was like a music and arts festival. It was $2 Radio. If people know about $2 Radio, $2 Radio is a small boutique style press from Columbus, Ohio. I think their headquarters is there. In any case, I think they're from there. I think they went to Denison or some shit, but they've published a lot of shit. And I mean, Hannah Fedorikib, is that the I mean, he's not white. I mean, I think it's obvious that there was sort of a moratorium, right? There's no mystery why there's no, like, because they didn't publish any fucking, they published Fuckboy by Sean Thor Conroe or something. It's like it was up to non-white authors to be the voice, because they were the whole last 10 years since Trump have been about upending patriarchy, white male supremacy, and everything. But in literature, perhaps most specifically. And so it's people like Tony Tulamate or whatever, Tao Lin, Sean Thor Conroe, Dean Kissick. I mean, there's people like Scott McClanahan. I think he was famous before. A lot of it is fucking that guy who died, Giancarlo, what is it, New York Tyrant. A lot of the writers who seem to be like, it's like, who decides these things, for one thing? These writing seems to be organized around these scenes that kind of like gain mass of people that just sort of like approve of each other. I mean, particularly in poetry, where it's like, if you're not a part of this circle of people that sort of like vouch for each other as like being the avant-garde or the legitimate highbrow poetry or whatever the hell it is in this country, then it's like, well, what do? It's like there is this network and these clusters of these kind of open mics, readings. Everybody's got their own little clubhouse, their own little domain where they're the boss, where they publish who they want to publish, where they feature what they want to feature, where they kind of can mold it to their vision. And that creates a readership, I suppose. I mean, I remember when I first started really sharing my work publicly, there were all these jokes about, I've got 3 readers or something, which is plenty. Everybody had a joke about that, right? Like Philip has a book, 0 readership. Like I've even heard famous poets say that, like big famous poets be like, I've got 6 people who read me, really. And it's like, well, I don't know. I mean, uh, is there some kind of like mass readership for poetry? Or a novel by a white guy? I mean, I would say for poetry, there is mainstream. I mean, look at Young Pueblo. Look at Rupi Kaur, right? Insta poetry, I guess, is kind of over. I'm waiting for the first big TikTok poet. Uh, but I think certain things that get across on the internet, you kind of lose something sometimes. Like Young Pueblo, they've got a shelf of Young Pueblo books at like every Barnes and Noble in this country, and presumably people are buying them. Who are these people? Who the fuck is buying all these Young Pueblo books? Somebody is, I suppose. It's like, is that the Kerouac of Gen Z, Young Pueblo? I mean, it goes back to this Mark Fisher thing, right? Where everything's like diluted, our time is diluted. It's just like the cultural impact. And the media has purposefully been like avoiding making a hero machine out of any kind of like white guy for the last 10 years. And that's what the monoculture was. It was like this idolatry kind of manufacturing, like worship these giants of like 20th century mass media, Sam Shepard or fucking, famous film directors or whatever the hell it is. And that's why it was so interesting to see this article in Rolling Stone about conservative. Let me see if I can pull it up, because I'm pretty sure the frame of it was like how these alt-lit writers are like conservative. And that was like, it's punk rock here it is, inside the anti-woke literary scene growing in LA. They felt excluded by millennial moral censorship. But is their work just pushing boundaries or just pushing buttons? So this article, and a major monoculture style literary magazine. Look at this. Here's their ads. Support journalism that speaks truth to power. Subscribe now, Rolling Stone. I'm not sure how this article is speaking truth to power, but the anti-woke literary scene. Which is like, it's surprising to me that they chose to write about LA, because the article does mention Sovereign House and a little bit of things like that. But I mean, these writers that they chose to write about do not seem that interesting to me. I don't really know where they got these people from. I've never heard of them other than Delicious Tacos. And I'm not sure. The thing that it says about Delicious Tacos in here is like his shit is like extremely like sexual. And it's like, it doesn't like seem that remarkable to me, but it's frustrating that they choose to write about something like this. And it's like with Trump, it's like, when it's just you give him attention, it doesn't matter if like the article is critical or sort of skeptical or like trying to be, questioning whatever this is, what does it mean? But it's like, why not write about something actually cool? I don't know. It's like, do these people have do they have shitloads of followers or shitloads of people buying these books? Because this guy's book is called Nutcranker. It's like, I've never heard of it. Nor do today's young men have their own Hemingway, Kerouac, or Bukowski, a generation-defining writer who captures the plight of men in all of its rugged beauty and brutish toxicity. I think there's a lot of guys that try to do that. It's gross. Look, what I'm saying is buy my book. They should be writing a fucking article about my goddamn book, is what I'm saying. That's my whole point. It's like we're here. They should have written an article about the New York City poetry open mic culture and the New York City Poetry Festival, because I mean, is there a giant, popular, or is it what is that guy? Matt Starr? Is it fucking Dream? It's not Baby. What is it? Dream Baby Press, or is it that? Like, no. Why does something have to be like Instagram fucking famous for the legacy media to be like, "Oh, we're gonna write about this"? It's just like they're letting the tail wag the dog, where it's like that was the purpose of like gatekeeping or like legacy media or whatever the fuck it was like, we're going to find the people with talent and we're going to platform them and nurture them until they grow because we believe in them. We're auditioning people, whatever it is. We're reading manuscripts. We've got a slush pile. We've got that's the point of that, is to find the people with the fucking talent and to put them in the fucking Paris Review or whatever it is, the New Yorker, not just a bunch of fucking Nepo babies. And, Rolling Stone, it's like they're kind of giving credence to this whole fucking anti woke. I mean, I've been, relatively verbal about my, you know, critique of like, wokeness or whatever you want to call it, but I would not say that I'm anti woke in any way, shape, or form. I'm generally pro woke, actually. I believe in most of what it is, actually. It's just, I think it could be a little subtler. Ramming it down everybody's throats and being fascists about it. Like Trump is doing everything. It's like they're just hard line about everything and they want to villainize people. And it's like, that's not really a good. I understand why it needed to happen. Like, that should be part of the article. Part of the article, it should admit. Because one thing I don't like about a lot of these articles about like, why are there no male writers, is like they still like to shit all over like the idea that guys are whining about that. They still use it as an excuse, like shit on male writers. It's like, they're all writing these articles that are like, where are the white male writers? But then they're like, first of all, we don't really believe that. That's just something that like white guys like to complain about, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, it needed to happen. It makes sense. Everybody was sort of in this group think, but like when you write the article about it, like it's no fucking mystery. Is that a problem? I don't know that I'd say that it's like a fucking problem, but it's like, it's frustrating to me that the gatekeepers or whatever that hold the keys to this stuff are not smart enough to like actually find interesting shit on their own. It's just like everybody just believes whatever gets the most clicks, whatever has the most followers, whatever. It's like there's shit that happens off the internet too, and the open mic culture in New York is an alternative, and across this nation of ours and the world is an alternative. You want to talk about going on the road, going onto the stage. That's our fucking generational journey. Facing the fear of public speaking and creating an alternative to the institutionalized literature. Whether it's MFA people or fucking Twitter hotties, Twitter thoughts, or whatever the fuck it is. Like, those people aren't necessarily the best writers either. I'm sick of reading these just completely bland, like fashionista, cool kid writers that just like this Jordan Castro book. It's like, it just sounds so not interesting. And it's Kenneth Goldsmith did that 20 years ago. They wrote that book already. It's like there's no fucking juice in any of it. There's no fucking imagination. Whereas like this open mic culture is like people supporting each other, publishing their own zines, really dynamic writers, really fucking good writers. And it is woke, it's very diverse, it's very multicultural, it's queer, it's LGBTQ plus, it's all of those things. Uh And it's, I don't know. I mean, it's just like there's a million and 10 people doing everything and everybody's online, and there's a pecking order and a scoring system to show you exactly how cool you are and how successful you are. And so I don't know how something like this got traction, the anti woke literary scene. 26, handsome and charming. I got the impression he was sleeping with half the girls at the party, though he claims it's only two. He insists we meet in a cemetery. It's a good place to think, and we chat sitting in the front row of his black 1997 Ford Mustang. I used to have a nicer car, a 2020 Camaro, but I totaled it doing donuts. I mean, I just have so much issue with this idea that, like, it's cool to be anti woke or conservative, or that's like punk rock. That's like, I think, something that they say in this article a few times is like it's punk rock to be. I don't know. I think there's a lot of people who are looking, and for new work and exciting work, and there is, Dream Boy Book Club and fucking. But I don't know. I guess I'm doomed to like DIY culture and shit like that. What the hell else do I want to talk about? I did want to talk about Bill Wyman. I don't have anybody watching, so I'm just going to jump around, do whatever the fuck I want. Oh yeah, maybe I'll talk about Ozzy's, and then we can weave this back in. Ozzy's big farewell concert, because I did watch it. I did watch the Ozzy Black Sabbath last gig ever. Ozzy's got Parkinson's, and so he was sitting in this giant fucking black throne, and it was like it was an amazing, just from the, it was like an open mic. It was just this long marathon. It was like New York City Poetry Festival. Ritual. What was it? The 5th of July. He went back to the beginning, right? He went back to his home of. Why did I want to talk about this? Well, a lot of that music I've just never really been exposed to that much. I'd never seen Slayer really before. My friend John Ryan is really into Rain of Blood and Rain and Blood. And I'd never really seen Tool. He's really into Tool as well. So I assume, I don't know, Ozzy, he knows what he's doing. He's got kind of like a knack for popular consciousness. And so, he curated this to use everybody. So I thought it would be a good, and I don't know, I just, that's one of the exciting things about the streaming era is like when there's a cultural event like this, it's like you literally just jump on YouTube, watch the whole fucking thing. Pro shot. It's the next best thing to being there. And the reach of that, right? And so Metallica, I watched a little bit of. I thought Guns N' Roses did amazing, actually. I think they were the first one I watched. It popped up in my feed, Guns N' Roses at Ozzy's farewell show. And I thought, I'm a Guns N' Roses fan. I'm not afraid to say it. They're one of the last truly badass bands, I feel like. And they're on tour and shit. And so I thought their set was very tasteful because they did like 4 Black Sabbath songs. And I'm like, this is, I mean, Axl's voice is just shot to fucking shreds. It's absolutely gone. But, I love cover songs. And you can tell the musicianship in Guns N' Roses. I was like, I'm kind of in Slash. He's on TikTok. And so I'm like, Slash he's got something going. I've always liked Guns N' Roses, but like now I'm like, starting to get to know them a little bit more. And you can tell they just have a love of music. They really know their stuff, and they know how to make shit that uh, is fun. Uh, and how to tell a story. Axl is a poet. Um, he's always got crazy good lines and shit. And their songs are about real shit. They're about criminals and doing drugs and kind of outlaw life. Guns and Roses. And I don't know. Axl Rose is just kind of I don't know. He's kind of a funny guy in a way. He's a funny kind of figure. But I mad respect. They started out with 4 Black Sabbath, so they took the time to learn these fucking complicated. Black Sabbath being generally the starting point, I guess, for heavy metal. I'm not a metal head. Metal in my lifetime has gone from being sort of like nerds or something, right? It's gone from being like sort of like an ostracized. It was not something that the monoculture legitimized. The monoculture kind of looked at it like, ugh. It's the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and all this blues rock stuff is really the best stuff, and heavy metal is kind of like this loud, obnoxious. But gradually, it's become more it's replaced rock and roll to be dad rock. It's like the mainstream, and these bands are like old. These guys in Slayer are like fucking in their 60s. They've been doing it for 40 plus years. Slayers were the ones that really I was most impressed by, because they were the ones that surprised me. Because like I said, I didn't know that much about them. As soon as the guy starts screaming, "God hates us all," I'm like, wow, this is one of the greatest songs I've ever heard. And I get it. It's amazing music. But I do think that it says something about the soul of our culture, that it's become more and more obsessed with that kind of energy, that kind of sound, that kind of anger, aggression, frustration, thrash, rage. But it's also a joke. It's also meant to be kind of funny. It's also meant to be like, Ozzy's like a ghost story or something, kind of. There's something that's like it's like a horror. It's like a novelty or something almost. But he's a great songwriter. You can't. Black Sabbath and Ozzy's solo career. He's like a lot of these rock and roll figures. He's a maverick, and he just kind of you couldn't really stop that guy. He just kind of like had that kind of renegade energy and just kind of broke through over and over again. You got to grab people's attention. You got to kind of startle people, bite a head off a bat. And just like the excess and so I don't know. It was, it was like a cultural event that I thought, it's a big deal. It's end of an era, right? In a lot of ways, things are kind of drawing. Well, this big, beautiful bill. Have I talked about that since it passed? I really don't even know. It's it's just been only getting more and more apparent that we're like living it's only the beginning of the consequences of that. The oncoming. Well, it's getting scary. Maybe it's because I'm just like doom scrolling fucking TikTok all day, but like it's getting scary with the fucking Trump shit, with especially with this fucking police force. It's like they're just going to give this guy, first of all, it's $150 billion or something like that. Like, how much? Okay, let's say you think that illegal immigrants are stealing Medicaid and food stamps. How much fucking do you think they're stealing? Do you think it's $150 billion? First of all, they pay into the economy. They pay a lot of taxes. Illegal immigrants who come here to work and shit pay a lot of fucking taxes, for one thing, because they work. It boggles my mind that people would rather spend $150 billion to let this guy create his own army, essentially. I mean, that's what it is, right? It's like the fourth largest army in the fucking world after our own army and like Russia and China or something like something insane. And it's, he's doing it so he has his own little loyal brigade that will fight for him. It's how can you not think that these policies are like predatory and that like they do. I mean, something that Scott Galloway guy said was pretty haunting. He's like, they want to, people have indicated that they think it's okay that we've accepted assist people in control who like want to use the bottom 90% to nourish the top 10%. I mean, that's basically what it is. I mean, we are all going to be working for the rest of our fucking lives to pay, and who knows if we'll even be able to make ends meet that way. It's really like reinstituting like slavery, to be honest, where it's like things are going to get so expensive, our money is going to be so worthless, the people at the top are going to have so much more than us. Cost of living is going to explode. The cost of all the fucking food and shit is going to. And so what? We're just going to have to work literally all the fucking time. But at the same time, like the AI, right, is being prepped or they're using it as an excuse to just like fire all these fucking people. If so we're going to have like probably unprecedented unemployment. At the same time, the cost of living has never been higher everywhere. It just feels like they're trying to engineer desperation, engineer stress, circumstances where it's just like designed to break people, I guess, kill people, right? So supposedly they want to what? Their ideal population for this country is 100 million. They want to get rid of like at least, what is it? I don't know, 30 million people or something. But their ideal population for this country is 100 million. And so they're going to deport you and me. They're going to make it like a private Mar-a-Lago for the richest of the rich. And their servants, basically, the people who work on their yachts and private jets and who cook for them and clean their houses. And I mean, but they're deporting all the illegals. So who's going to do those jobs? The white people? Or die. You do it or die. Or you get deported. And to some place in the global south where, climate change is completely wreaking havoc. So everybody's trying to migrate. So it just seems like, the Nazi kind of dream is like becoming more and more real, where it's like, are they just going to exterminate millions of people, either passively through denying their health care, getting rid of the National Weather Service, like this fucking, what was it, a flood in Texas? There was a camp of like young, school age girls that like got swept away right in this fucking flood. But because they fired all these people from the national, it's like when you look at these policies, it's like they're not, anybody with a brain who looks at it, it's like they're not saving money. This big beautiful bill is going to increase the deficit by $3 trillion, and they're getting rid of everything. So we're going to have less fucking money and no services. And you're going to be paying more in taxes. So what you're basically paying rich people. You're donating your money to rich people because that's where it's going. You pay more, they pay less. and the guy could be president for fucking, till he dies. And then, I mean, I don't really think that there's any way that we're going to get out of this without, I mean, without armed conflict or something. Why do you think he's building this private army? They already invaded Los Angeles, basically. I mean, okay, one of the best articles I've ever read about Trump. I hate to say it, because God knows there's been infinite fucking commentary on this asshole. I read this. It was by Tina Brown of Vanity Fair and the New Yorker, who I really don't know anything about, actually. But she's got a fucking Substack. It only had 17 comments, like 400 likes. It's like, this is Tina Brown. And it was a good article. It was all about how Trump is a reality TV director. I'm sure people have said that a million fucking times, but it's like he's writing the script of, like this. It's like, is it just owning the libs? Is it just meant to get a reaction out of people and then it goes away, like the Iran thing? It's like he dropped this bomb, everybody's shitting their pants saying it's going to be World War III, and then 2 weeks later it's a whole different storyline. He has to, it's like episodes of The Apprentice. There has to be a cliffhanger. We're not sure what's going to happen. Will he drop the bomb? Will he not drop the bomb? We don't know. What's he going to do? You got to stay tuned. And then he does it on a Saturday. That's one thing I've noticed. A lot of the big shit happens on a Saturday. That's when he got shot. I think it was on a Saturday. I think he dropped that bomb on a Saturday, didn't he? So it's like he's using the news cycle. He's using the media. He's using terror, kind of a psychological terrorism to own the libs and to stay in the news cycle. And now it's this concentration camp in Florida, Alligator Auschwitz. And we could go there. We don't know. They could be sending any of us there. Once they find my YouTube that nobody's ever watched with their AI fucking demons, with their racist grok, with their anti-Semitic grok, whatever the fuck that is. So I don't, maybe it's just like tech people are trying to sculpt this kind of like dark takeover narrative where it's like the AI is coming for you. Cost of living is exploding. Trump, everything. Big, beautiful bill. War. And, we've got these psychological control devices that are so fine-tuned to just like shape the narrative in your head of every fucking thing. We've got bots in the comments. We've got an algorithm that's choosing what you see and shaping your worldview in a minute, infinitely kind of precise, and you're addicted to it. And the people who control it have no fucking scruples at all. They want us dead. I don't get it. Some of them want us to have more babies because we're underpopulated, and the rest of them want us dead or deported. It just makes no sense. I mean, one of the things that drives me nuts about the bots in the comments is it's just amazing to me that Republicans have created this narrative where like the Democrats are like everything I see in the comments of a TikTok, and I'm pretty sure they're bots, is like this would have happened either way, right? Trump is just a puppet, or he's just like, but it's like all this stuff was going to happen. The Democrats would have done it. They would have dropped a bomb on Iran, right? They would have, would they have done a big, beautiful bill? I mean, uh, it's just like Republicans have created uh, a narrative where the Democrats are in collusion with them and so equally guilty. And so the Democrats don't fight for us. They don't do anything for us. They sabotage Bernie, right? Uh, and so we're just not going to vote at all. Like that's the people don't understand that that's like a political tactic to discourage people from participating. That is like the narrative that the right wing wants. They want you to think that the liberals are just as bad. Pelosi, Schumer, Kamala, they're all Hillary, they're corrupt. Biden, of course, the DNC. Why are they appealing to Liz Cheney? They're the same. They're all one thing. Why are they being endorsed by Liz Cheney and fucking bitch slapping Bernie? It's like, I read an interesting thing about that. It said, one of the reasons why they appeal to the center is because they can take away voters from the right wing. That's what they're thinking. They're thinking we're going to get people who are Republicans who don't like Trump. And that's, so for every vote they get, Trump's going to lose a vote. That's their strategy. And they think if they move left, they're going to alienate center people where most people are, I think. Most people are not political or they're center or whatever the hell. I mean, it obviously didn't work, but it's just like that's the effectiveness. That's part of the narrative that's being shaped that like people pick up and they repeat where it's like, well, I would vote for Hillary, but they fucked over Bernie in 2016 and 2020. But there was no primary in 2024. And so they're just as bad. They're the real dictators. There's no primary, so we didn't even vote for Kamala. And it's like that is all like a Republican strategy to suppress the turnout for the left. People think that their vote is like some kind of like pure like symbol of like their everything they want. Like, I'm only going to vote for you if like you agree with everything and you're just going to give me everything. It's like, that's not, it's a strategic thing. Like, you shouldn't not vote. It's still in your best interest. Like, that's what people, this is another thing that like the narrative is like, oh, all the Democrats say is orange man bad. That's why I should vote for Hillary because orange man bad. I should vote for Kamala because orange man bad. It's like, well, yeah, orange man is bad. We're not just saying that because we want Hillary to win. We don't like these candidates either. It's just damage control. And it's a kind of privilege, I think, to think, well, I'm not political or I'm not going to vote or it doesn't matter to me. They fucked over Bernie, so like I'm not going to vote. I'll vote for Jill Stein or Trump. It's not going to make any difference in my life. It's like, well, I just don't. I mean, another part of the narrative, right, is Trump derangement syndrome. So now it's like if you react to everything that Trump does, like it's the end of the world, people just go, you're crazy. Oh, now it's the big, beautiful bill. Oh, yeah, there was going to be a war with Iran. Oh, yeah, the tariffs. Oh, yeah, these libs are shitting their pants at every little fucking thing he does. It's like, it's because it's going to fucking ruin our lives. Quite frankly. like losing Medicaid, losing SNAP, creating a fucking private army that's going to like, indiscriminately prosecute their, it's like this second term is punishment for him losing in 2020. It's like that's why he's going after LA and the universities and uh, he says he's going to take over New York. He doesn't like Mamdani. He's going to have Mamdani arrested. I don't even know why. Like, why? Like, he wants to go after New York because they prosecuted him here. This is where he's got 37 felonies. New York, Manhattan, fucking jurisdiction. Trump is wanted, but he's above the law now because this fucking Supreme Court gives him anything. That's just Trump derangement syndrome, okay? You're just fucking crazy. He's not doing anything any other politician has never done. A lot of presidents have gotten $150 billion. It's like that money could, like, supposedly it only take $20 billion to solve homelessness. It's like $150 billion. We could do a lot of positive, constructive things with that. It's amazing to me that people think it's because of this fucking Fox News narrative about the illegal immigrants here. Biden, supposedly hundreds of thousands of illegal immigrants came to New York City and all of the cities, right, during Biden. And so ICE is going to go in. All of the illegal immigrants have to leave. That's what Steve Bannon said. They all have to leave. Is that what they're going to do? They're literally going to like use this private army. They're going to invade cities. They're going to invade New York. Is he going to be able to are there going to be enough people that will go and do that? How is he going to find all these ICE agents? Are there enough people that are willing to fight against their own country fucking men and women? Or, is it going to get to the point where they'll have a super race of AI bots that can just exterminate us with complete impunity? Because then we're really fucked. But I don't know. I'd like to believe if like they start killing people, people's conscience will be their guide and sort of it's scary. I mean, is that just reality television directing? Tooney Brown had a good line about we live in reality, not reality television, or something like that. People think that pro wrestling is fake, but it's not. These guys really get hurt. It's a lot of wear and tear on their bodies. And look at the average life expectancy of a pro wrestler. That's how they want to treat us. We have a sadist, he wants to see us fucking fight each other to the death in the Coliseum. There's going to be a UFC fight in the White House lawn. Is that nature? Is that strength? Is that how we create strong people, strong country? He wants a dictatorship. He wants it to be like North Korea or Russia or Turkey or Hungary, right? He just sees it as his Mar-a-Lago. This whole country is just a big resort for him to play golf and fly around on his fucking jumbo jet, his $400 million Qatar jet. And watch poor people suffer and struggle and laugh at them. Ha 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 ha. So I don't know. I mean, we're all fucked, I guess. It doesn't seem fake to me. It doesn't seem like a fucking TV show to me. It seems like I don't. There's this like belief, and this is part of like I think once again the narrative. People have just picked up on like these mind kind of like worms and these memes that are like thought seeds or something where it's like, well, like this is something I constantly see on TikTok commentary and shit is like empires only last 250 years, right? This is like, and maybe that's true. Supposedly, that's the life cycle of the Roman Empire, whatever. I don't, is that true? Maybe in their prime. I mean, Roman Empire lasted thousands, hundreds of years. You know, it developed. It's still around in a way, right? It became the Holy Roman Empire. It went there. You know, it's like became the Vatican. It morphed. But this is something I hear all the fucking time on you know, everybody feels the need to comment this. It's 250 years. That's how long an empire lasts. It's like these have to be bots. It's to me that is like a common narrative. Maybe it's true, but we're all like surrendering to it. And maybe it is astrological, right? Like we're going through our Pluto return. That's when the American Revolution happened. We're at Gemini and Uranus. That's every time there's a huge war, World War II, the Civil War, we have Gemini and Uranus. So it's like we might just be heading for like real bad, real bad. You know, we thought the pandemic was bad. The pandemic maybe was the last good thing that'll ever happen. Well, that was something that I wanted to talk about is like the first Trump administration, there was all this resistance and wokeness, for lack of a better word, I think was a key to that organization. It was something that everybody could get behind. Everybody kind of understood it in a way. You have to, you know, it was good for people to kind of watch their fucking mouths and like not offend people and not say mean shit about marginalized people. And it was kind of nice to give those people the front of the fucking bus for once in ever in history, and to sort of like platform, you know, the traditionally oppressed, right? That was very important. And it was a visual way, but there was also a lot of radicalization of people with socialism, like Bernie, AOC, certain podcasts, whatever. There was a lot of discourse about suddenly people were politicized for the first time in my life, really. Even when Bush was president, people were not that political because now there was the internet and Twitter and all these different ways for people to nitpick and tell their side of the story, right? Now all of a sudden everybody has a voice in this marketplace, this free market of every goddamn yapper on the internet. And so, you know, traditionally people who had no fucking voice could suddenly have a huge platform and give their side of the story, their 2 cents, nitpick. Hey, we don't like it when you touch our hair, white people, or whatever the fuck it is. Here's my pronouns, you assholes. Pronouns were a way for people on the left to sort of just like, it's like the brown M&Ms for Van Halen. It's like, if you're doing pronouns, it's a way of showing everybody, look, I'm on this side. I'm a leftist. I'm not a MAGA. I'm not whatever the fuck that is. I'm not a white supremacist. And so there was like this political awakening. People were reading Marx and shit in ways that they never would have. It never would have been cool, really, for like kids that go to Bard and shit to be like that political about everything. And so that energy, I think, rolled into the pandemic response. I think the pandemic response was this kind of like caring response that like Trump didn't know what the fuck to do. He was sort of in his first like stumble through dress rehearsal presidency. And they kind of deferred in a lot of ways where they gave everybody $600 a week. They gave everybody the PUA and all this shit, unemployment. And it's like, they wouldn't do that now. Now they would know, now they'd have a plan and they'd be like, fuck you. You got to go back to work, blah, blah, blah. That situation was just such a shock to everybody. And so there was almost like this socialism that happened for a second. You know, I think we need to look at that pandemic moment as like an example for what might not be a bad idea for an alternative way of life. Just shut everything the fuck down. People can still do social shit. You can still do in person, still do events, like the sort of aftermath of the pandemic where everybody had money, apartments were cheap, right? How the fuck did that happen? I thought everything was supposed to be so expensive. I thought the market value of an apartment was supposed to be $4,000. How is it only $1,200 or something all of a sudden? It's like it showed that another way is possible, and we did it. There could be a universal basic income. There could be everything since the pandemic has been a reaction against that, and they can't let us have that kind of freedom and control ever again. They understand that they have to raise the price of everything. They have to raise our cost of living. They have to give us these Amazon jobs or whatever, where it's just like they work people to death. It's a new plantation. These fucking warehouses and delivering fucking packages and shit. Driving these people to the fucking, brink. And so with this new Trump presidency, I don't see any like center to the organization on the left. I don't see any, like the first time there was strength in that. The resistance came out so hard, and we did beat him in 2020. I think that's part of the reason why. It's part of the reason why our pandemic response was as merciful as it was, and why he lost in 2020. They didn't cheat. People knew they did not, we were all shocked when he won the first time. Nobody expected that he was going to win, because people were 10 years ago, we were all 10 years ago, we were all talking about the shit that they're doing now. We were all talking about like, they're going to do concentration camps. They're going to have secret police. They're going to cut Medicaid. They're going to cut SNAP. They're going to privatize everything. Blah, blah, blah. They're going to kill us all. They're going to deport us. We've been saying this for 10 fucking years. It's just now actually starting to happen in a real fucking way, because people made the mistake of letting the guy back in. It's like, it's got to be the biggest blunder in fucking world history, that people allowed this guy. Oh, it won't be that bad. It wasn't that bad the first time. We kind of liked it. We kind of miss it. We miss being hate fucked by Donald Trump. We miss our abusive boyfriend who completely dominated us and fucking wouldn't, just like there was no air for anybody to breathe in the room anywhere. Please, let's go back to that. And as bad, or as like, stifling as being, the threat of being canceled was, or cancel culture. I mean, there was obviously more to it than that. There was the pussy hats. There was a lot of things that it felt like kind of bound people together. Even in its like divisive way, the white people like understood, like, okay, we are going to support woke everything. We're going to do, this huge fucking march, and George Floyd and blah, 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 because we're guilty, and colonialism. We're reckoning with that. We're trying to reckon with that in probably the first real way ever. And it's just a beginning, but Donald Trump kind of triggered that. And now it just feels like, is there resistance? I mean, fucking Rolling Stone is writing an article about an anti-woke literary salon and how it's punk rock to be conservative. It's like, what the fuck? Is Jan Werner a Trumper? I'll be right back. I'm going to get water. Just think about that for 1 second. I mean, maybe that's the natural path for all these old rock and roll guys like Van Morrison or Clapton or whatever. It's just like they become MAGA, anti-maskers, anti-vaxxers. Didn't Matt Taibbi, he was like the big Rolling Stone reporter during Bush, Iraq War, and he's sort of like, I don't know if he's like MAGA, but he like hate, he was very outspoken about Biden and Ukraine and all that shit, and how the Democrats were like sort of like a war party or whatever. What is that guy? What is he saying now? He's fine with everything going on. I mean, who cares? It's just weird. I mean, like, maybe I will go back in the other room. It's just like they can get people to believe anything. And the right wing, I feel like, is a lot better with their talking points. I mean, that's what they do. All these fucking they invented talking points. The term talking points, I'm pretty sure I first heard it on O'Reilly. Didn't he have a segment called Talking Points? And it was literally like bullet points of like, here we're going to walk you through, like, this is what you're supposed to think about this. Rush Limbaugh was the same thing. It's like all day long, this guy is like arguing, indefensible positions, but he's pretty persuasive, I got to say. Even when I would listen to Rush Limbaugh, I'm like, this guy's kind of right about everything. And it's like, it's not because he's right about everything. It's like you can frame anything. Like, one of the big ones I remember was how the Democrats were actually worse for black people because before welfare and housing projects, black people actually had kind of a nice middle class. They could be a porter, or they could work on a train. They could be a shoe shine or whatever the fuck, and like they could have a brownstone. They could have a family. They'd have their own kind of like metropolitan whatever neighborhood life. And then, when the Great Society or whatever came in, Civil Rights Act, and the sort of reorganization of like, let's get all black people into like government housing, we tore down urban renewal, tore down all the neighborhoods. There were no jobs, right? We got rid of all those jobs. There was no longer these kind of like good jobs, like being a porter or working on a fucking train, whatever that job's called. What is that called? Like when you're a porter on a train. I think there's a name for it. I think Langston Hughes did that. And, it was a racial categorization, but like a lot of African-American people, I think, did that job. And it was like, so anyway, then they got everybody hooked up. It was like, this is how the Democrats destroyed the African-American family. They got every single mother hooked on the government instead of her man. The guys were all fed crack or whatever the hell. They were all kind of like, brutalized and turned into like violent whatever. They'd go to jail. And so the father was absent. These mothers are living off the government. They're living in a HUD housing or whatever housing project. That's the Democrats' fault. That's what welfare did. That's the Democrats, and yet black people vote for Democrats, right? Because they think Democrats are like doing something for them by giving them money or giving them this kind of housing or blah, 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 food stamps, whatever the hell it is. I don't know how much truth there is to that narrative, but it's like if your average person hears that, they're going to be like, well, that sounds true. Fuck the Democrats. And so it's all spin. It's all fucking spin. And now more than ever, it's just like you hear 1,000 takes on everything, and you have to sort of like discern your own truth out of a consensus of everything you hear, or picking and choosing what you believe. And everybody's got their own menu. No one is really like quality controlling any of it or verifying any of it. It's like there's a lot of people out there who believe that the moon landing was faked and the earth is flat. And that's like their favorite fucking thing to show how smart they are by talking about it. Oh, you fucking believe the moon landing is real? That is a story about how the government lies to us. That is why that is such a cultural meme, because it's like it's easy to sort of get people to buy that because but it's another one of these things like it's just it sounds convincing when you hear somebody go, "Well, how'd they get the cameras up there?" Well, I can't even get a signal now on my fucking phone or whatever. How they get a fucking phone call from the moon and who operated the camera? It's like there's a million things like that where you'd be like, "Well, fuck, I don't know." You're right. They never landed the moon. But it's like that doesn't mean they didn't do it. Just because I can't fucking prove you wrong. But it's like those arguments can be it's a con, you know. And so when they get you to think, well, they lied to us about landing on the moon. It was bullshit. Well, then it's like, well, they lied to us about everything. And then it's like, well, fuck the government. Just get rid of it. Fire them. Fire all the federal employees. Get rid of all the fucking bureaucracy and the red tape. I hate bureaucracy. I want no tax on tips. How many people did I hear that from? I mean, I think that was a ploy to get like young people or young people and like servants, right? Like, uh, who's working a lot of these jobs where you're getting tips? A lot of them are young people, waiters, bartenders. Usually they're like under 40. Some of them work for life, but I mean, typically a bartending job or whatever, it's not necessarily a job you want to have like your entire fucking life. At least not, I mean, that was not like the aspirational America. The aspirational America was like someday you'll get like a real job. It wasn't just about making ends meet by having 5 fucking side hustles. It was like, oh, maybe someday I'll get tenure or I'll be a fucking vice president or I'll have my own business or whatever the hell it is. Not like I'll work in, a bar 2 nights a week when I'm not working at my bank job or whatever the fuck. But it's no tax on tips, so hey. Just another win from Trump. That's just like a bait, you know? Like you're gullible. That's literally like a fucking worm on a hook. Oh, no tax on tips, man. That sounds good to me. And I don't know exactly, what the fine print of that is, but I'm sure there's some kind of loophole where they can take advantage of it. They can pay their employees less or something. He's in that business. He's in the hospitality business, casinos, whatever. Uh, I'm sure he has some interest in it. But they just he's a media figure, and he's working with these tech people, and so the way that they're shaping uh our perception of it, especially during the campaign, right? um I think we're just so caught off guard. People don't really know how to organize. I think people have been at each other's throats with like wokeness, with millennial moral, what do they call it? Superiority or something. That the left, millennial moral censorship, we're all kind of like drained already. And we're all kind of like not really knowing how to organize. I mean, even the Zorhan thing, right, is like divisive to within the left. The left is attacking him, which looks really bad because it just confirms the narrative that the Democrats are just sabotaging a real left. They're just controlled opposition. That's what I usually hear. They're controlled opposition. I don't really believe that. I think if you look at Obama and people like that, they did do what they could. He was behaving with some kind of highfalutin ideals about what, like he's Abraham Lincoln or some shit. And the Republicans have been playing dirty for like 40 years. Uh, but these tech people have an interest in helping the right wing because now they see their opportunity in it. They know they're going to make more money, but they all I think they really see their chance to just take over everything, really. I think if they get their way, they're going to just well, okay, this is another thing that really frustrates me, and I keep seeing this in the comments, and I'm like, these have got to be bots, or they want to create this narrative in us. Accelerationism, right? Like this needs to happen. We need to rip the band-aid off, and the sooner we get into World War III and Civil War, the sooner things are going to be better. This just like we just need it. And it's like I see so many people that are just like this all like they're they're accelerationists. They think that this is like if we elected Kamala, it's just like, well, that would have just been more uh like treating the symptom, or not and it's like, well, I don't know. I don't really I think the idea that our lives are going to get better when there's like the when there's like a war, like the only way we can fix this is if it becomes like this crisis and becomes like like in World War II, right? It's like after World War II, Germany and Japan like got rid of their navy, right? And like they didn't have a navy or military forever, and Germany like had this kind of reaction. Whereas like now Germany's a leading democracy, and they have these laws about anti-Semitism or whatever. You can't even do a Nazi salute and blah blah blah. It's like it took this getting their ass kicked in this kind of humbling or whatever, this war, this crisis, this cathartic kind of like confrontation situation coming to a head, to like that needed to, or like in order for them to change. Like that's the only way for this country to change. That's the only way we're ever going to get. I just think that's naive. Like people really think that that's what's about to happen. Like And even if it did, like having a civil war and World War III, I think would just affect people's lives in such a profoundly negative way. I think people like it's flip. It's glib when they say things like that. When they say like, well, this just needs to happen. It's like, yeah, it's easy to say that in the fucking comments section of like a fucking TikTok video. Like, how's it gonna feel when like you get your fucking blown in half or something by like a fucking drone or God knows, or when ICE deports you to fucking Greenland, island Hunger Games prison. Like people seem to be like wishing for it's like a death wish, or it's like this thing like we can't it's easier to imagine the end of the world than the end of capitalism. It's one of these things that you're just like it's inconceivable that this will change. And so uh the only way this is going to change, the only way America's going to learn. I don't think that's how it's going to work. It's like these MAGA people. It's like they don't learn. They're never going to learn. You can get rid of their fucking Medicaid. You can get rid of their everything. Get rid of their rural hospitals. They are not going to learn. Like they didn't learn when they died of fucking COVID. It's like they still voted for him. People still voted for him. Oh, this other thing I want to talk about, these fucking Epstein files. So I think these are all like very destructive, but we're headed to that. So that's what it's going to be. But I don't think it's like, oh, we're going to have World War III. And then by 2030, everything's going to be cool. We're going to have UBI and healthcare. Everything's going to be great. We just got to have a little World War, Civil War, combo. But then it's going to be great. Just a couple years. It's like, what the fuck do you think that's going to mean? You think that's going to be like a cakewalk for everybody? Luckily, I think I'm too old and broken down as a fucking anatomical body, so I don't really think I'm eligible for the war. I mean, maybe they'll deport me. I'd like some of that white male privilege to kick in, I guess. Let's see how good my white male privilege is. Will I remain in the United States? Who cares? I'd like to leave. If I could leave right now and move to Europe, I would absolutely do it. But it's unlike, like with World War II, there was the United States to step in and beat the Nazis. Who's going to step in and beat us? China? Probably China. I think China could come in and just put us down with like one little. Like China, they know what the fuck they're doing as a society. Like maybe I'm brainwashed by TikTok propaganda. I'm sure I am, but like I think that's probably what is likely to happen. Like this idea that like American imperialism is got to stop, and so America's got to like be beaten down. It's an end of. I mean, our country's a war machine. It's like we've got this huge military budget. There is some truth to the idea that like it's not going to change until there's like a crisis, but like it could change. That is what's really frustrating. Is like it very well could change. If we voted the right people in and we just kept going more and more left, it's like you got to go a little bit left and a little bit more left and a little bit more left. You can't go to the extreme left all at once. I mean, maybe you could, but the narrative is we fucked Bernie over. We don't know if Bernie would have won. They should have run him once just to show, just to see. If he would have won the primary, they would have found a way to slime him. I guarantee you. They would have come up with some kind of fucking talking points. He probably still would have fucking lost. The dumbass Rust Belt people who say like, oh, I would have voted for Bernie, but I voted for Trump. They're liars. They were never going to vote for Bernie. Like these Red Scare people. They're never going to vote for Bernie. They were never socialists. They just wanted to convert those people. They wanted to bring those people into because they saw an opportunity, and it worked. It would be great if Bernie Sanders could be the president. That would be amazing. But like, you got to take your best option. And we just move a little bit more left. If we could have got Kamala in there, things would probably be sort of chill right now. We could have gone a little further left, But there's a lot of resources and effort put into fucking destroying this fucking country and destroying the federal government. And because there's a lot of goddamn money that can be made. And it's about to happen. Linda McMahon and fucking Trump are going to be in charge. Isn't that wonderful? So yeah, okay. The Epstein thing is another example of this, right? Like, this is the thing that people are like, oh, this is going to rip MAGA apart. He won't release the Epstein files. What? You're kidding me. He lied about that. You're kidding me. There's videos of him with the fucking guy. There's pictures of him with the guy. Like, you don't think that there's a quote. There is literally a quote from Donald Trump in a New York Magazine article from 2002 where he's talking about his buddy Jeffrey Epstein and how he likes young girls and they love fucking gallivanting together and shit. It's like, if you're not a retard, you fucking know this already. You think Trump is going to go in and like catch all the pedos and throw the Clintons in jail and shit? Like, you are fucking retarded. I hate to use that anti-woke language, but I need a heavy weapon. This is not Trump gives retarded people a bad name. MAGA people give retarded people a bad name because retarded people are actually good. They're actually great people. MAGA people are just pieces of shit. They just don't care about anybody else. And they don't even know what the fuck they're voting for or what the fuck they're doing. So this fucking Epstein thing, right? Like, it's just amazing to me that this is like people on the Daily Show. They said it was the only bipartisan issue left. The only thing people can agree on is Epstein and the fucking child, whatever. But it's like, that's just another narrative about how the government is like this. It's just another conspiracy style. Not that it's wrong, but like in the Diddy trial, I guess, is a component of this. People think that, 30 years ago, 50 years, whatever, the monoculture, in order to be a famous person, you had to get like sodomized by P. Diddy or something. And all of the legacy media kind of gatekeepers and famous people in Illuminati were all, child sex trafficking and having weird rituals on like a fucking island. And Bill Clinton's on the flight logs. Bill Clinton's on the flight logs more than anybody because we know how fucking horny Bill Clinton is. It's like Bill Clinton was having sex with Monica Lewinsky, okay? And Paula Jones. It's like he was trying to get with anybody he could get his fucking hands on. I don't think he was trafficking children from like fucking Haiti or even like I do think that there is obviously truth to the Epstein thing where like they're kidnapping women off the streets and they're aggressively like holding them hostage and, forcing them to do shit. I don't think they're like drinking the adrenaline fucking gland of the children or whatever the fuck these InfoWars people think. And so I don't know what people think they're going to find in like the Area 51 files or the JFK files or the Epstein files, but it seems like this is like, these are like the real issues. This is what people actually vote on. This is like what they are actually passionate about. It's like, release the JFK files. What's in the JFK file? We want to know. Trump said he'd do it. He said on Joe Rogan he was going to release the fucking JFK file and he was going to tell us about aliens and shit. We demand this. This is what we really care about as voters. It's like they don't give a fuck about Medicaid. They don't give a fuck about SNAP. They don't give a fuck that there's a private military just being created with $150 billion and the deficit is exploding because of the stupid tax wealth transfer. We don't give a fuck about that. We want the fucking JFK files. We want to know if there were fucking little green men in Roswell, New Mexico, and if ID4 was like a true story. It's like people are so fucking infantilized. It's just, narrative has so much power, and conspiracy theories are the best narratives. It's just the best. It's like child storytelling. It's like the child thinks they're in on something because it's like the moon is not real. Did you know the moon's not real? It's a satellite. It's an alien spaceship, actually. Planet Earth used to be a perfect utopia, but then the alien spaceship that we think is the moon, it's made of cheese. People actually believe this. I saw this in there was a TikTok video. Give us your most crazy conspiracy theory that you think is true. Some guy said that the moon is an alien spaceship where like they harvest our bad feelings. I do believe that this planet is like a prison colony or like some kind of hell planet where like it's fine tuned to just keep you miserable enough. Like there's just enough things to keep you going, but there is some kind of like negative energy harvesting that's happening. I do believe that. They want to set our energy at like, that's why we have to like work these torturous jobs and pay rent that's not really necessary and eat poison food, and everybody's like mean to each other and nobody wants to relate to each other. We're all in like this narcissistic competition to like be better. It's like that. It's all designed to keep us just uncomfortable enough, like being on a bed of nails or something. Like, yeah, you could sleep on it, but it sucks ass. You got to keep your weight evenly distributed. And so it's like that. We live in an era of like fantasy storytelling and like that shit in a childlike imagination. It's like, oh, of course, was Oswald alone? What was the real reason they killed JFK? What was the real fucking reason? Was it the mafia? Was it Israel? Was it uh the CIA? CIA and mafia in cahoots. That's what Allen Ginsberg says. That's probably true. It's another narrative that uh undermines the legitimacy and the authority of the federal government. And that's what they want people to be thinking about. They don't want people to be thinking about anything that the government can actually do to like make our lives better, like building high-speed rail, socialized medicine, universal basic income, regulating the food and the corporations, taxing billionaires, taxing corporations, getting rid of the fucking military, demilitarizing, proliferating nuclear weapons. There's a million things that we could do, federal art subsidies for fucking poetry chapbooks. There's a million good things the government could be doing. But let's just focus on how the government is like this shadowy deep state. It's all CIA. People don't even know which end is up in that regard, where it's like, oh, the CIA just goes in and overthrows. It's like, what do you think they did in Iran? They did this. I was just watching this documentary the other day about 53. They went in and overthrew this guy, Mosaddegh, who was like this highly educated, he'd been to Oxford and shit. He was this worldly kind of diplomat, and it was a democracy. And the CIA went in and overthrew him, right? Eisenhower. That was Eisenhower and Nixon. And it was 70 fucking years ago. Like, I just don't know how people can be obsessed with like how insidious that kind of shit might be to them, the deep state government or the CIA or whatever. But at the same time, like they have no problem with Facebook or putting all their shit on the internet or whatever the fuck, all of the Trump unholy dark alliance between Peter Thiel and all of that shit. It's like that's all totally fine that they want to create some kind of weird database of weaponized metadata, Palantir. What people are fine with that. You think the CIA is like this relevant, insidious, like, I think if anything, whoever was doing that before, they're doing what they did in other countries to our country. They're overthrowing the government, basically. That's what Palantir and all this shit, they're going to become like some kind of new tech management of this landscape and our lives, basically. And we'll have to use stupid crypto. We'll have to use we'll have to use poopy butt coin. Buy my new crypto, poopy mouth coin. Fart face coin. Fart butt coin. I heard this crypto, it's called fart coin. It's probably got a market valuation of like billions of dollars. It's fart coin, everybody. These are definitely the people that should be rewriting our Constitution. From the people who brought you fart coin and PayPal and X and Doge. Just give them the keys to everything. Let them put weird chips in our bodies. Why the fuck not? So yeah, there's a lot to be freaking out about. Who knows how much time we have left? Are these the last good days? What's it going to look like this time next year? Prison Planet. Yeah, how do we get better at shaping the narrative? I mean, that's all. It's like dark magic, conspiracy theories and conning people into hyper focusing on that type of shit. The frogs are gay, everybody. 9/11 was an inside job. I mean, all of that is true. Bush definitely did 9/11. There's certain, like I'm not saying every conspiracy theory is a lie. I'm not even saying that they're all, they might all be true. But it's to me, it's like, on the one hand, it's kind of a good thing that I guess Americans care that little children are being tortured or whatever. If that's, but it's also like our society is like hyper fixated on that shit. Our society is like overly fixated on like child, molestation and to catch a predator, and like everybody thinks everybody's it's just like it's not good. It's like, obviously we should try to prevent those things. Those things are evil, but like fixating on it and I mean, what in a certain way, there is like this eyes wide shut, like Illuminati thing that does rule everything, but it's like people elected them. It's like just because Trump is in a picture with Hillary and Bill doesn't necessarily mean they're like all on the same side. And when it comes to the government in this country, or at least the one that we had, it's like you just got to vote for the people that are going to do the best for you, who are going to help your life be as good as it can be. If you're a rich person, Like voting for Trump is probably a great idea because you're going to pay way less in taxes. You're going to get richer. Things are going to get better for you. You know, the world is going, all of the rules are going to be rewritten to help those people because I guess in some way they look at them as being like genetically superior. Those are the best people, clearly, because they're the richest. They're all billionaires. They're all winners. They all created businesses. They all survived, you know, the fucking market and shit or whatever. The Shark Tank. They're obviously the best people. So they're genetically, should, you know, it's like Dr. Strangelove. They should just get whatever they want. Put them in the bunker. The rest of us poors, we're the bungled and the botched. We're all defected in some way. We're short kings. We're dumb. We're ugly. We're lazy. We're not white. We're queer. We're drag queens. We all can die. We all get service industry jobs or join the military or die. Better learn to be useful to the fucking rich people. I mean, it's been that way, but it's going to get worse. They want to push it to be like a plantation type hierarchy. They want, you know, that's how Trump looks at. He looks at like he's a king. He's got this building. It's got his fucking name on it. Everybody works for him. He's at the top, and that's how it should be. And you know, there has been a psyop, to use everybody's favorite fucking word, a psyop, layering in a market philosophy that supports that. You know, all of the American psychoeconomics that have been subtly the Ayn Rand shit, the market decides, you know, the free market, Milton Friedman, neoliberal, let the market decide. The market has to be completely untainted. It's capitalism. It's, you know, supply, whatever the fuck. All of that shit has been preparing us, you know, with the reality shows where it's like, if it's a fucking Apprentice or whatever, the real world road rules, fucking, like I said, Shark Tank. It's all like, how is that show? Like, there's no other shows on TV that are even popular. And you know, like Shark Tank is somehow like, is that on network television? Like, who the fuck is watching this? Somehow people are still watching like The Bachelor, or like people actually watch Love Island. Like, what? There's been so many of these dumbass reality shows where it's like dating on an island. You know, it's like, what could possibly be interesting about that one? As opposed to, you know, 20 years ago, there was some fucking get a bunch of hot people on like an island and they're all going to fuck each other on the show. It's like, what is Love Island? How is that any different than any other fucking of these dating reality shows? And there's been a million of them. Somehow people still watch that shit. I don't know. But it's like they're all meant to. It's just weird to me that the people that are like Christian conservatives who believe in, who don't believe in evolution, they believe in like market competition and like a survival of the fittest of business and companies and money, and just like they like that. They like the viciousness of the competition. And, you know, they were born in a place of privilege, a lot of them, especially people like Trump. So it's like they've had an advantage their whole life. Of course, they like thinking that it's like some free market or something. They've gotten, you know, Trump, he's like Elon, where it's like all the money he's ever made is like government rebates, tax abatements and shit. He's just a welfare queen. He's always been stealing from poor people, stealing from taxpayers. You know, that's what those tax abatements are. It's like working people pay their fucking taxes, electricians or whatever. And then they give Trump $150 million to build a hotel or whatever. So, I don't know. I'm not like believing that it's going to just get better quickly. Really? I mean, how are we going to turn? I mean, unless the guy dies, which even if he does, it seems to me like they anticipated that he might win or they wanted to rig it so he could win. And they have this plan in place. And no matter what the fuck happens, this plan is like going to like just like be implemented. And it seems like all of the Republicans are sort of colluding on it in a way. You know, they all know what like their ultimate goal is, I guess, is Project 2025. It's laid out. I haven't really looked at it. Should we look at it, see what else? Supposedly they've only finished 42% of it. But I definitely remember on the campaign trail, track the progress on Project 2025. On the campaign trail, he said there is no Project 2025. It was all made up. There was no Project 2025. So he lied, obviously, like he always fucking does. Let's see. Detailed project objectives. Reduce federal incentives for states to expand Medicaid coverage. Impose Medicaid work requirements. Impose stricter work requirements on SNAP. Oh no. Medicaid work requirements. Eliminate the PLUS loan program. I think I did have a PLUS loan. Roll back student loan forgiveness and income-driven repayment plans. Oh my God. I can't even look at this. It's just too scary. Yeah, so I'm on Medicaid, so I'll have to provide some kind of proof that it's like you work 20 hours a week or something. Oh my God. Well, yeah, so we're fucked. Don't get sick, I guess is the new strategy. Uh yeah, so that was all in Project 2025. You know, Project 2025 was like in a binder. You know, like you could definitely go and read it like before he got elected. You know, like there you had the opportunity to do that. I think even at one point I did look at it because I had heard about it, you know, in summer of before the election or something and thought, well, what the fuck is this? Project 2025. I probably saw it in a fucking TikTok video or something. And then I distinctly remember hearing Trump say, there is no Project 2025. We're not doing that. Don't worry about it. And I actually did think, okay, that's good. I believed it. I mean, not that I ever in any way, shape, or form would have voted for Trump or thought it would even be remotely a good idea. That's like what's just so shocking to me is just like how people just like slept walk right into this. Like, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, right? Like, we kind of deserve whatever the fuck happens. But, I mean, when you're outright, he ran a campaign that was disingenuous and that underplayed the hostility of and it was like a Trojan horse or something. It was like they were laying in wait or we got ambushed or something. I know there's all different things, but they were playing possum in a way. It was a Trojan horse playing possum. And they fucking lied. Well, I mean, if you read Project 2025 and took it seriously, see, that should be illegal. I mean, that was their platform, more or less. It's what they're doing. Anybody who follows what's happening can see that, like, this is their playbook. And so it was disingenuous and it was a lie. Well, I guess it was a truthful hyperbole. Like everything with Trump, it's emotionally it's true or something. Uh, just like vibe wise, it's true. Even if literally it's a lie. Literally, literacy doesn't matter anymore. It doesn't matter like what you say. It's all about like vibes. That's been their whole strategy. It's just like disconnecting things from their meaning, disconnecting the media from being taken seriously. Uh, and so that's not really fair, is it? This is why it's important to know that he cheats at golf, because the way you do anything is the way you do everything. And if you cheat at golf, well, he's going to lie about it. He's always lied about everything. We all know that. It's like this endearing thing that people love about him. Ugh. And so that's sort of not fair that he said, well, we're not going to do any of this stuff. And now they're doing all of it. Because, I mean, not that his voters would have given a shit, I guess, but they're all brainwashed by Fox News and all of those places just to thinking like, get rid of the illegals, get rid of all the waste. The illegals are getting Medicaid. My tax dollars are going to give health insurance to migrants, people, gangs. They're eating the dogs. Remember that? They're eating the dogs. How funny was that, everybody? What a riot. What a real laugh riot that was. They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. That guy's just dropped a bomb on Iran. That guy's in control of our lives for the next 4 years. They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. Somebody thought that was a good idea. Well, like I said, it's been a surprise, I would say, at how aggressive and hostile this administration has been, and systematic about achieving their goals. It didn't go because everybody was surprised the first time, even Trump. The second time, there was a lot of people who had a vested interest and who saw an opportunity in it, and they're all using him as a surrogate to sort of go in and detonate. They're setting the charges, and there won't be anything left when they're done. The whole place will just be empty. They're just going to rob the place. I mean, obviously, it's like Mr. Henry in Bottle Rocket. He steals all of Bob's shit. It's like there's always another plan. You know, you think it's about this dance and YMCA and shit, but it's really about stealing everything in your house. That's not nailed down. And then that too. I mean, $3 trillion fucking deficit. It's insane. Just making sure that future generations are just completely fucked by this. What a piece of work. So I don't know. We're already like on this path. It's like who knows if there'll even be midterm elections. I can't imagine they're going to allow another election to happen. I mean, it depends how intense shit gets. I mean, particularly if we get into some kind of war. It seems like they want to escalate. I mean, if Trump says, he's basically invading these cities, some of this shit in LA is pretty ugly. And now he wants to take over New York and probably other places. And so, I mean, they literally didn't even do that during the Civil War. What's going to happen when Trump's ICE army decides to invade New York? I mean, everybody here's already MAGA, right? They already love it. The cool kids table. All the anti-woke literary scene. I don't know. There is a hopeful, more positive way, I guess, but no one seems to want to listen to that. It's just like the narrative's not interesting enough. It's too interesting to repeat these narratives about conspiracies. The government sucks. The institutions suck. The Democrats suck. The Democrats are controlled opposition. They fucked over Bernie. Uh, we need to drain the swamp. It's all the same thing. We didn't land on the moon. Release the JFK files. So the Epstein thing, is this Epstein thing going to like rip MAGA apart? Like, no. People will forget about it in 2 weeks. They've already said that he's above the law. What difference does it make? Like if he's on the flight log, like there's pictures of him with the guy. There's video of him with the guy checking out women. Like I'm sure people have seen this clip. They're like 2 little boys they're fucking horning out of these chicks. It's like there's video. We've seen it. Everybody's seen it. They're talking to each other. It's like they're bros. They're cocksmen. They're like wedding crashers. And they redesigned their whole society to set up just so they could get laid. One thing that I'm curious about that nobody talks about is what the fuck happened to Ivana Trump? Remember when Trump's wife just died between the presidencies? After 2020 and before this one, his wife just like fell down the stairs in her townhouse and died and had like all these bruises over the back of her head. I mean, to me, that is incredibly suspicious. Like, no one ever fucking really batted an eye or anything. Ivana Trump died at the age of 73 of blunt impact injuries to the torso after falling down the stairs at her home. I mean, okay, I guess theoretically that probably was an accident, but I mean, I guess he had no reason to kill the lady per se. We don't know. That's a little fishy to me. Where's the conspiracy theories about that? That's just something that's just not suspicious at all, that this woman fell down the stairs and died. Trump's ex-wife. Nobody even said really a whole lot about it at all. It's just weird to me what people seem to fixate on. Like with this Epstein thing, like that chick from Red Scare made an entire fucking movie about it. There's literally an entire movie, and they talk about it all the goddamn time because it's sort of like some kind of skeleton key or something to the whole conspiracy. Like if they just release the Epstein file, we'll see the whole child pedo Illuminati, Bill Gates and the Clintons, and we'll just get them. We're just going to get them all. P. Diddy and R. Kelly. And, that Red Scare chick made an entire fucking movie about this. About the Epstein thing. The Scary of 61st. It's like she goes to Epstein's townhouse and shit. And then her whole thing, she voted for Trump and she's at the fucking Trump rally in Madison Square Garden. And it's like, he's on the list, right? Like there's fucking pictures of them to like, what do you think Trump is like he's Batman or some shit? And he's like going to kick the door in and like bust all these fucking pedos because he's like he's fighting for us. And he's like going to fire everybody. It's like he's in the article with Epstein in 2002 talking about how Epstein likes young girls. It's like that was over 20 fucking years ago when no one was really batting an eye about that kind of behavior. That kind of sexual assault of victimization of women and interns and everything. That's what the legacy media and the gatekeepers did. That was like part of their power. Was like, oh, we can like audition all these models and shit. Like, we'll get them drunk. Like the fucking studio I worked in, Milk Studios, it had like a bar in the studio. It's like there was clearly a pipeline getting the models from like the shoot into like partying and doing blow and loosening up and shit. And I'm not saying that's good. It's good that it's been exposed. It's good that the Epstein thing has been exposed. Do I think Bill Gates was like flying to the island and like having sex with like kids under the age of like 15? Like, probably not. Maybe he was having sex with teenagers. That's credible, possibly. I mean, the Epstein guy was wrapped up in a lot of charity shit and blah blah blah. Like there's a million fucking reasons. He's got an island. Wouldn't you go? If your friend was like, "Hey, you want to go on my fucking private jet to like my fucking private island in like the fucking Bahamas or wherever it is?" I don't know where Epstein's island is. You'd probably be like, "Hell yeah, I'm down." I don't know anything about this guy. Is it a honeypot? Apparently, it's a honeypot operation. To me, like the Diddy shit is probably. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not defending Epstein. Like, it's awful. He should have gone to jail for the rest of his life. So should fucking Trump. All I'm saying is that if you think that like this Epstein thing is a big deal and that Trump is not a part of it, like you're fucking crazy. Because there's proof to anybody. It's like, don't believe your lying eyes. I never met the guy. We're still talking about this? I can't believe you'd even bring it up. It's a very rude question. Don't believe your lying eyes. Don't believe the article from over 20 fucking years ago where I talk about how we're best friends. They were best friends for 10 years, supposedly. It's like, why? Because they liked watching basketball? I don't think so. Gee, I wonder what they had in common. I wonder what Jeffrey Epstein and Donald Trump like to do for fun. I wonder what was a common point of interest for them. I wonder, gee. And the MAGA people are a fucking cult. They will spin the thing one way or another. It's over. He already got elected. It really doesn't matter what people think. It's like the majority of this country already fucking hates him. It's only like 30% of the country that even likes him or voted for him or anything. His approval rating is terrible. So it's like most people already hate him. It doesn't really matter. It's just orange man bad. Democrats don't have anything to run on, so they just complain about Trump. It's like, yeah, because he's a piece of shit. I liked Hillary. I liked Kamala, god damn it. I didn't have any problem really with the way this country was being run for the last 4 years. The wars that people like to blame on Biden, like he fucking started them, he didn't really have any control over. Putin invaded the Ukraine and Netanyahu invaded Gaza. What the fuck was he supposed to do? Those are both very touchy things. They couldn't really intervene. I mean, is he Bernie Sanders? Like, not exactly. But it's like they weren't going in and saying we're going to build fucking condos. We're going to turn it into Disneyland. Disrael. Disney Israel. We're going to build a beautiful Disneyland right on Gaza. Mickey Mouse, Goofy, Daffy Duck, they're going to be in Disneyland and Gaza. The Palestinians will have a very nice place in San Salvador. They can go to prison. They're going to be relocated to Madagascar. The American tax dollars will pay for Israel Disney. the inflation, all that kind of shit was sort of under control. There was like sanity, and like there was like a sort of like a stabilization, and like the government was at least like in the background. It's like we weren't really thinking about it every fucking day. Sleepy Joe wasn't like psychologically fucking terrorizing and bullying and fucking torturing the goddamn uh anybody with any brain in this country. But it was the cost of eggs, right? Blah blah blah. So it was just a little too, you know, it was a little too expensive. And so now we've been plunged into just like radical policy making that people haven't even seen in like a century plus. Uh, an emboldened senile return like Napoleon or something. So I don't know. It's a lot of fuel for the news cycle, a lot of excitement for our roller coaster of emotions of feeling secure in our lives or what's going to happen. Now we really are going to be like subject to history. I mean, the pandemic, I guess, was that, but and the other thing is like people act like this is an America only problem. Like, oh, you Americans really fucked up. It's like, no, this is gonna fuck everywhere up. This is not just our problem. I hate to tell you that, but like, Trump is gonna embolden bad people everywhere, and like, if we start invading, or if the bombs just start flying, like if the dollar crashes, there's a lot of things that could just like destabilize every goddamn place. And so I think it's naive to think that it's like we're the only ones that are going to be fucked by this. I mean, we're trapped in here. This is the other weird thing about it is like, there was all this rhetoric about daddy's home. He's taking his belt off. It's like it does kind of feel like that. It does, and that's not good. It feels like we're about to get like abused. It feels like they're about to like beat the shit out of us. Like we are locked in a room with like an abusive husband or like daddy. He's going to discipline us. It's like that's not good when your dad hits you with a belt. That's not like I know there's like some boomers that think that that's like what's good for kids. Like that's what's wrong with parenting now is people don't hit their fucking kids. It's like these are the same people that believe like, oh, it's hard times create strong men create soft times, or easy times create soft men. This kind of bullshit. Like, oh, you got to beat your kids for them to really like behave, be good people. It's like if that's metaphorically, and it does feel that way. It feels like dad came into our room, he's got his belt, and he's just like starting to whip us. That's not good. That's traumatizing. That's going to leave a lot of scar tissue. You know, this whole accelerationist idea, like we just need to get this over with. We need to just get into the war. We need to get into the. It's like, well, that's going to leave a lot of damage, and not everybody's going to make it to the other side. And who knows who's going to win? The thing is, they could win. I mean, they have, particularly if they have all the guns. It's all the Trump psychos that have all the guns. They're the ones that are obsessed with that's part of the Republican strategy. That's like their backup plan. It's like guns, God, and pro life. And it's like that's because if the left actually tries to do anything, they have all the guns. They'll just kill us. You know, he's going to have $150 billion, the fourth largest army in the world, basically as his private, security force or whatever. Will they obey his orders? I mean, how brainwashed are these people? And so the idea that there's going to be like some kind of socialist, I don't know. Maybe all the Bernie people and all the fascists will get together and we will create some kind of like socialist utopia. Maybe the DNC will stop fucking it up for everybody. The real villains, the Democrats, the real bad guys, the Democrats. Well, this has been the Republican strategy. It's just sort of taken on its ultimate form, which is that they're really one thing. There is no difference. That's always been sort of the argument, but like now that's what the leftists believe. Is like it's all one thing. The Democrats are controlled opposition. They're all owned by the corporations. Well, it's like, well, how do you explain that the Democrats all voted against this bill and the Republicans all voted for it? There is a difference, right? Maybe it's not as pie in the sky and utopian as we would like, but there is a fucking difference. And we're about to find out how bad of a difference, because the Republicans have been actively trying to destroy the system and take it over for a long time. The Democrats don't really work that way. Are they more imperialistic or something? I don't know. Like, I think that they believed in the idea that the United States was like the leading democracy and, we had to protect freedom and shit like that. That has been eroded over the last 50 to 80 years. We have not kept up with the fucking Scandinavian countries or these countries who have surpassed us in education and whatever healthcare. But it's like we subsidized them with our giant military by, there was some idea that our way of life was more ethical, better for more people than third world autocracies or places that weren't democracies, even though we don't have a real democracy. And like I said, it's gotten worse and worse and worse. Reagan, Bush, Clinton did a lot of bad shit. But, I would rather live under Bill Clinton or Hillary Clinton or Obama or Biden than Putin or Orban or Kim Jong-un, obviously. I think best case scenario, maybe Trump can find some way to like, at least for a small part of this country. It doesn't seem like they're interested in that. Like when they're killing like all the international visas to like the higher education, and they're killing the student loans for like kids who want to be doctors, and they're killing just higher education in general. It seems like they are actively trying to defeat this country, because that is the shit that makes America the world leader in whatever the fuck business, really, because people come here from all over the world to get educated, to get jobs, and to be a part of the culture. It used to be the envy. America used to be the cultural leader. It used to be cool to be American, to be Hollywood or to be on broad, whatever it was, to be American culture. American culture led everything. Now it's just like people are turning their backs on America, and they think that we've betrayed they think our best days are behind us. There's no white male novelists anymore. And that's bad for our economy. And so I don't think that you can argue that he has like America's interests at heart at all. I think it's about he wants to make money and be as powerful as he can be within that circumstance. He wants to use America as his own kingdom for as long as he can, even at the expense, and maybe particularly at the expense of our standing abroad. I'm not unconvinced that he's not some kind of like sleeper cell that is being funded by foreign, agents to destroy this country. There are ways that this country has been being taken apart since, especially since the internet and the apps and shit that uh feels like cyber warfare, psyop type thing. Everybody loves to use that word, but like, I mean, a lot of these kind of mental memes, these conspiracies, the things that have been platformed, the way the American identity has been kind of like shifted into hyperdrive with like Hulk Hogan supporting Trump, Alex Jones is like this weird, like Star Wars, elder, like people really like he's this performance artist, but he's also like a libertarian soothsayer or something from Austin. And these are people that like are, he has more journalistic power than like Lester Holt or network news, or there's no equivalent to like a Walter Cronkite or uh, something with, I don't know, some sense of responsibility. American. I don't think people realize like how unusual that period in American history where there was a middle class was. It's like that was only a circumstance of the post-war boom and having a socialistic style government, a big government from the New Deal. They could build all these fucking houses everywhere, and every soldier could get a house and have a family and blah blah blah. And so there was a largesse that created, the Democrats were in power in the House for like 60 years. There literally was no Republican majority from like the 30s or something to like the 90s until Newt Gingrich. I remember 1994, when I was a kid, there was that election in 94, the midterms right after Clinton got elected. That was the first time in like 60 fucking years that there had been a Republican majority in the House. And that's when shit started to change. That's when they started to, the contract with America. That's when they started to dismantle all of those social programs, welfare, all of that New Deal type shit. That was the beginning. It's all been one neocon kind of neoliberal push since Reagan. Although, everybody in the comments is like, well, Carter started that. Carter started the neoliberal. It was always a Democrat. The Democrats always actually did it, but never mind like the facts or the statistics, like who did the most damage. They're all one thing. Uh, it's been back and forth since then, it feels like. And even more, I mean, that's the other thing is this country is just gerrymandered. Where it's like, I read something about the midterms where it's like it's very unlikely that the Democrats even could win a majority in the Senate, just because like they just don't have the seats. It's like there's no swings, there's no potential for that. So it's like even if they do as good as they can do, it's very unlikely that they're going to have a majority in the Senate. So it's like we have a minority rule in this country. The dumbest, most ignorant red state fucking people have an exorbitant amount of outsized amount of power, and we all have to suffer And we're paying more taxes than they are. The blue states, New York, California, we subsidize Kentucky, all these fucking red states, Kentucky, Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana. Those are like the biggest welfare states. Kentucky is one of the biggest, uh, you know, users of the federal Medicaid and fucking all of the welfare shit. And they don't pay hardly anything into it. Maybe the United States should have a trial separation. I don't necessarily think it's a bad idea. Just let the blue states go one way and let the red states go another. It's that simple. Let them fend for themselves, because at this point, the blue states are subsidizing the red states and we are being punished for it. And how long should we put up with that? Why should New York pay for the bad policies and the bad decisions of a red state that just wants to punish everybody and abuse themselves? They don't want Medicaid. They want a work requirement. Let them have it. Let New York be what we want it to be. Let it be Mamdani. Let it be AOC. Let it be socialism. Let it be rent control. Let it be free healthcare. Let it be free college. They are holding us back, and they don't see any consequences for it. How many times are people going to have to die in places like Texas of a flood, of a mass shooting? How many times is that going to happen? How many MAGA fucking people are going to have to die of COVID? It's like, it's never going to get through. It's how many illegal MAGA supporters are going to have to get deported? There's MAGA people who get deported and they're still like, well, we like Trump. And, Trump's got to do what he's got to do. It's like, there's nothing with these cults. It's like Jim Jones. The leader has to die. It's that fucking simple. Until Trump dies, he is the thing that I honestly don't think JD Vance can get elected. He'll be able to institute the policies that they want, but he's just he's like a spokesman. He's like they're just using him. He's really just like he sort of got name recognition because of his stupid book. And he was easily bought. He just let them buy him, and he sold himself like a whore. He's just a whore. He's a cheap whore. JD, he's a cheap fucking whore. He's a piece of shit. He can't do what Trump does. Nobody can do what Trump does. People are looking for a Joe Rogan of the left. It's like, where's the Trump of the left? Why can't Alec Baldwin be as big of a dickhead as Trump? It's Bernie, right? I mean, Bernie's the Trump of the left. But if you're on the left, just by definition, you're sort of like a considerate person who cares about other people. So Bernie's like he's not going to like Bernie still could have run. He could have run as an independent, but he knew it was too important to not split the vote with the Democrats. He should have just taken the whole fucking thing over. That's what Trump did. Trump, the Republicans didn't want Trump either. They all thought, this guy's too much. He's an asshole. He's racist. Even they thought that. JD Vance, there's quotes of him saying Trump is racist and shit. It's like, where is the Democrat fucking monomaniac, sociopath, pig dictator, socialist, commie, woke commie? Where's our trans woke Trump? Who could it be? Is it Hassan Piker? Is it AOC? I mean, it's got to be AOC. But I think that's another example of like people might overestimate her popularity. I would vote for AOC. I think she would be a great president. I think she would be the best choice probably of whatever's out there right now. Definitely. But like, that also might just be like a privileged coastal elite point of view. I mean, AOC didn't get elected in Kentucky, like there's a lot. She might be a polarizing. Like, it's easy to think that like these leftist candidates are going to steal votes from MAGA or something, but like that remains to be seen. These MAGA people are very disingenuous, and the talking point they've been told is like, I would have voted for Bernie, but I voted for Trump instead. It's like they would not have voted for fucking Bernie. They're racists. They're selfish. Like, they can say that now. If Bernie actually got the nomination, they would not have voted for him. These people in fucking West Virginia and shit, it wouldn't have happened. I'm sorry. They like to put it that way, but like, how it's not just coming from like the Democrats. It's like there's a lot of people out there that like think that these people are like commies and shit. Like look at the way Trump talks about Mamdani. It's like he's a Marxist. It's like he's a Marxist, Antifa, Muslim, fucking from Africa. It's like, they're going to throw because he's actually in a position to be a threat now. So they're just going to throw every dirty thing at him they can. You don't think they would have done that with Bernie? You don't think Trump would have figured out some way to fucking trash Bernie? He's just a better storyteller. Unfortunately, he's a talented entertainer, and he was groomed in this really weird way where he was a reality TV show host and he's applying those techniques to the government in synthesis with like a tech corporate military surveillance takeover, basically, and privatization of the federal socialized aspects of our government. They're sort of, it's a hostile takeover. This is not anything new for them, I don't think. They're just applying that playbook to the federal government. Whatever they do in a hostile takeover, they didn't understand that the first time around. They only had a few weeks to get their shit together. They've had a few years to be stewing on this. Trump's had the classified documents in his garage at Mar-a-Lago. He's been taking meetings with people for $100,000 plates. His private Xanadu down Palm Beach Way. He's next door neighbors with Rod Stewart. Rod Stewart has come out as being anti-Trump. Thank God. We love you, Rod. We knew you were one of the good ones. He says his policies and shit are really fucked recently. Thank you, Rod Stewart, for coming out and speaking truth to power. That's important. I always knew Rod the Stew was one of the good ones. But the hyper capitalists couldn't be any happier. They never expected this. Trump is hand delivering them their wildest dreams. All of the 1%, all of the wealthy, all of the elites, all of the capitalists and the privateers and the venture fucking analyst sodomizers of the fucking working proletariat, the owner class, the masters and the slaves. We're the slaves, they're the masters. We're domesticated. They want to keep us, we're going to be like domesticated livestock. That's basically what we are to them. They're the masters. They're the plantation owners. They're the Mar-a-Lago, the country club owners, people with private jets, the 6'2" finance trust fund, blue eye, Ivy League, elite, New England, whatever the fuck. silver spoon, and we are just donkeys. We're fucking mules. We're just there to drag the fucking plow and bring the food, bring the plates of food. So I'm going to probably get off now and try to go outside for a second while the sun is still out. There's probably some other thing I meant to talk about. I'm sure there was. There's always these huge. I got to a lot of the stuff though. A lot of, as you can see, I learn everything from comment sections, which are either A, people who have been brainwashed to all repeat the same shit, or B, bots, or C, probably both. You know, I think that's the point. And what people like, that's like they're on Trump's side. The people that own this shit, the people that own the comment section, who own YouTube, who own Instagram, Facebook, Peter Thiel, X, they were all on Trump's side, and they want to shape the narrative. That's how they do it. They put a bunch of bots in the fucking comments, so everybody goes, huh. Well, you know, if Kamala was president, it would be the same. There'd be no difference. Kamala would have done Project 2025. She probably talked about it at the debate. She probably said something about how I think I remember her saying, Trump's got Project 2025. You need to read it because this is their plan. The Democrats are not dumb. You know, like Hillary had Trump's number in 2016. It's like people don't care about that. They thought she was boring and wore a pantsuit and was like a dyke who controlled her husband, who killed people. You know, they thought the Clintons like fucking murdered people regularly. Whereas Trump is like, I don't know, Bruce Wayne, or he's a freedom fighter. He's fighting for us. Oh, why else? You know, why else would he do it? He's gotten so much hatred. Maybe because he's a fucking raging, probably biggest egomaniac who's ever lived, and he's just happy that literally everybody on fucking planet Earth is talking about him. That's all he cares about. He just wants to be in the news cycle. And now he can really push our buttons. Daddy's home. He's taking his belt off. I'm going to whoop your ass. So, yeah, I don't know, everybody. Just try to keep. What do we? I mean, hey, I'm ready. Blue states, let's just tell them to go fuck them. We want a divorce. It's not working out, you know. You're not tall enough for us. You know, I'm really looking for 6 feet, 6 figures, 6 inches. You know, these red states are really, they're toxic, really. And they will, you know, I don't know. Maybe the men are the same as the red states. You know, the demographics kind of break that way, and like maybe the red states are not pulling their weight and they're not developing themselves, and like the men. You know, it's easy to blame everybody else, but maybe they should blame themselves, and maybe they should do some soul searching to improve themselves. Maybe they need some time to just be self-reliant, see if they can stand on their own 2 feet, rather than mooching off the blue states, mooching off their girlfriends who's got a job, successful, making money. I mean, that's kind of how it was in the Civil War, right? The Industrial Revolution had kind of mechanized everything in the North. Everything was like a mill or some kind of fucking machine thing. In the South, it was still human labor. So economically, I think they were lagging. And so their sense of being a victim and being wounded and trying to take revenge is sort of intensifying And they just haven't. It's just, they have too much power. The fact that North Dakota and South Dakota have 4 senators and California has 2, it's like that's not fair. Like that just doesn't make any sense. And so we got to put up with all these bad decisions and shit. All right. Well, anyway, come and see us at New York Poetry Festival Saturday. I'm on White Horse Stage all day. I'm hosting all day Saturday. White Horse Stage, Governor's Island, 6th borough, Governor's Island. It's the best weekend of the year, everybody. New York Poetry Festival. Come say hello. I'll have books. I'll be live streaming. I'm going to try to live stream the whole fucking thing. Because why not? So I'll have my new zines. I printed out a bunch of new copies of my zines. I've got Casbah Doggerel. I've got the San Francisco book. I've got the White Album book. I split the atom of poetry, people. I was watching Oppenheimer. And I had a breakthrough poetically. So I've split the atom of poetry. So I'm going to read some of my new atomic poetry on Saturday. Come out Saturday. We've got a great lineup. Got great readers Saturday if they show up. Which, it's cool if they don't. But we do have a sick lineup. So come out Saturday, 5 p.m., White Horse Stage, Governor's Island. Then we're at the open mic on Monday. Come out on Monday for our post-festival recap show. Thank you for watching. Oh, my new vlog is premiering right now, actually. So go directly from this to my new vlog. I actually did work on it. It's got the clown show. It's got the autos reading. It's got me playing in Central Park. In the summer, I like to do big episodes. The summer, you have more time, and the summer feels like this kind of big, 3-month, 3-hour kind of expanse. And so I like to put out long episodes in the summer. So check out my new vlog, To Live and Die in New York City. Probably one of my best titles ever, To Live and Die in New York. Thank you for watching. Check out my new vlog, To Live and Die in New York. Come to Poetry Festival Saturday, White Horse Stage all day, and open mic Monday. Thank you for watching. I'm doing my Springsteen residency. Playing all Springsteen songs. So that's something I've been doing over the past few months. Is like I've just been kind of doing these studies and songwriters. I like being a bar band and I like playing cover songs. I don't know. Oh, I did want to talk about Springsteen. Maybe I'll get back on in a little while, but I'm having kind of a Springsteen. Well, the first time I was into Springsteen was during Bush era. And I listened to Springsteen a lot from in high school, actually. One of the first CDs I ever really remember listening to, in high school, when I got back into music, was Springsteen Greatest Hits. And just kind of being blown away by before you learn to play music, it's kind of mysterious how it works. You really aren't sure how they're making that sound. And a lot of that Springsteen Greatest Hits album is there's just an incredible sound on it. And I listened to it a lot when I was 14, 15, 16 in high school. But then, it had all the big hits, Thunder Road, Born to Run, Dance in the Dark, My Hometown. Murder Incorporated was on that. 18 tracks or something. And then in college, I was pretty obsessed. But, now that we're going back into potential war in the Middle East, and a real kind of neocon style presidency. I don't know. Suddenly, I don't know what it was. Maybe it was TikTok or something. So something kind of just triggered some kind of Springsteen thing. And so now I'm kind of taking more of a look at his songs. He's a great storyteller. There's a lot of details and choices that are very specific. But he's very political, right? He's very working class. a lot of his stuff is about, right, like working in factories and shit. That kind of manufacturing, blue collar, white male, boomer, whatever era, that all was, my hometown, right, is about them getting rid of all the manufacturing, basically. And his hometown dies. Reagan, and they stop making things, and Bruce Springsteen has really been tracking that stuff for decades. I don't know that I haven't listened to any of his more recent music. It seems kind of strange, and he seems like he's kind of lost it, but I'm glad he's still out there. And, it's inspirational that he's talking out about Trump. And to me, he's maybe like one of the best examples of like an anti-Trump. He's a good white guy. He's not really a womanizer. He's not an alcoholic. He's not a drunk. He's got a responsibility to his friends and family. He works hard. He cares about people, masses, the underprivileged. And his music is political. I think we're at particularly thinking about songs like that song Factory, and the kind of like workman like dedication he has to craft and just commitment, especially in this moment of AI and these fucking warehouses and robot workers, and now the factory is literally going to be like droids and shit. So it's I think that's maybe the greatest victory of the capitalists is without the power of organized labor, what power are underclass people going to have? And so by automating the workforce and making it all machines, you're getting rid of unions. You're getting rid of organized labor by getting rid of Hollywood. They try to go on strike. It's like, fuck them, fire them. We'll get machines to do it. We'll get AI to do it. We'll get Velvet Sunrise, whatever the fuck that AI band is. Velvet Sunset or whatever it is. And so, we've got to be able to look past that stuff. We've got to be able to, like it's insane to me that these are the conversations we're having. Like we're on this threshold of automating the workforce, or at least a lot of the workforce, particularly white collar workers, right? And yet the conversation is not, how are we going to provide for people with this new abundance, free from labor, free from toil of human beings? But what kind of jobs are these people going to get instead? What's going to happen when we all lose our jobs to AI? What are we going to do for work? I think it's insane that that's the conversation we're having. Like the conversation should be, isn't it great that AI is going to make it so we don't have to do this shit anymore? We don't have to drive trucks or load fucking warehouses or work on a fucking assembly line. Like, fuck all. That sucks dick. All of that sucks ass. Let the fucking computers do it. Like, I'd rather, like, I'm not saying people shouldn't have anything to do. Let them find their own work. Let them make things with their hands. Let them make crafts. Let them make small batch kind of artisanal shit. People will still let people's hobbies become their jobs, or let their interests become their occupation, rather than you have to work for UPS or Amazon, or like, fuck the jobs. Fuck, like, it's insane to me that this is the conversation we're having, because, right, Microsoft just fired all these people. We're on the precipice of like this AI revolution, and it seems like we're all going to be victimized by it rather than liberated by it, which is what it should be. That's the opportunity to be, is we don't need people to be slaves anymore, or indentured, or build fucking pyramids, or whatever it is. Let the fucking machines do it. They don't have bodies. They don't feel pain. They don't get tired if they stand on their legs all day. At least not yet. Let them do it. Let us fucking be free and just make our shit and do our shit and, you know, act like we're influencers. Live like influencers. That was a whole other thing I wanted to talk about. The AI. I don't know. Well, anyway, I guess that's my point. That's my whole point. Is like, and we've got people in charge that are only going to like implement those style of policies as fully as possible. You know, like the people who are in charge now are not going to share their wealth. That it seems pretty clear that their main priority is to keep as much of it to themselves as they possibly can, so they can go to outer space or whatever the fuck it is they're trying to do. So they can get they think, I guess maybe they are aliens, and their goal is to just trash this planet and leave. I don't know in what world they're fucking living in that they think the best solution for them is to like create some kind of outer space colony once this planet like becomes uninhabitable. Like they really think that's easier? Like there's no way that's easier than just fixing this planet. This planet is beautiful. It has everything. It's a paradise. It's unbelievable that they want to wreck it. That's one of the most frustrating parts about being alive. Is you're in this literal paradise, but it's like being kept away from you because you have to work, because you have to do all these things that you don't want to do. And it costs money to do everything and blah, blah, blah. All right. Well, anyway, there was one other thing I wanted to say. What the fuck? Is it going to come back to me? It's about AI and jobs and how we're just having the complete wrong conversation about all of this. Like the point is not that first of all, I don't even think AI could write better poetry, but like, that's not really the point, or make better music. The point is making your own as human beings. That I feel like is the ultimate destiny, is not to be a spectator, consumer, worker. The goal is for everybody to be the main character and to become fulfilled, by making their own music, by making their own poetry, by making their own art, self-publishing, doing a live stream, being a comedian, whatever the fuck your interests are, building houses, working on cars, even building businesses. Just because you have a UBI doesn't mean you can't go out and do that. Go out and build a business. All right. Well, anyway, thank you guys for watching, and come see us this weekend, Governor's Island. I'll get back on soon. I'm going to talk about Springsteen more at length. Thank you for watching. All right. Have a great evening. Have a great Thursday. Bye-bye.